Hi, team. I'm Fitz Koehler, your super noisy and bossy fitness pro and race announcer and author from Fitzness.com. I'm about to be on the online prosperity show. We are going to talk about supercharging you and your entire life. So snap out of it. Let's go.
To yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, the number one place where we uncover the stories, systems, and strategies behind extraordinary people who've turned purpose into prosperity. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and if you've ever struggled to maybe find time, motivation, or the truth about getting fit and living well, this episode is going to be your wake-up call. Today, we're joined by somebody who's literally powered through life's toughest rounds, Fitz Koehler. Now, Fitz, how are you doing today?
I am so great, Prosper. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, absolutely. You see, I'm actually shaking in my boots right now because I'm a little bit starstruck. I've seen your work and what you've done and the kind of people you've hung around. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is going to be an amazing episode. So thank you so much for making the time for us today.
Of course. I'm equally excited to chat with you and your audience.
Great stuff. Now, for those that are meeting Fitz for the very first time, she's a globally recognized fitness expert, keynote speaker, a cancer survivor, and unapologetically noisy and bossy voice behind the hit Fitzness show. And I've been watching some of the episodes on there. The Wiggles have featured on there, and with a slew of other celebrities that we're going to be hearing about. Now, you might be wondering, why her? Why now? Why should you care? Well, her mission is to help you look, feel, and perform better without any gimmicks or guilt. Now, so many people go through life trying to figure out, how to live well, be well, and do well. And some of the things really starts with, the fitness regimes that you have undertaken yourself. So just so that you have an understanding, Fitz used to compete in full contact kickboxing for almost a decade. And yes, she knows how to fight in and out of the ring. And I want you to stay tuned, because in this episode, we're going to be exploring how Fitz actually turned pain into power, and why she believes fitness should be fun, and what it actually takes to live supercharged. So wherever you are right now, you could be on YouTube, Spotify, or Amazon. Be sure to subscribe so you do not miss out on any of these intriguing episodes. Now, Fitz, I could go on and talk about things that, are going to distract us from the actual episode. You started your fitness journey at 14. I don't think I was even able to write my name at that age.
Right. What a little blessing for me. I have always been involved in sports. My parents put us in everything, starting at maybe 4 or 5 years old. But I would say I was 14 when I blew my knee out playing soccer. I had an MCL tear, had surgery, had therapy. I thought maybe physical therapy might be a career for me. And that was up until I came back to PT post-surgery. And the PT started messing with my incision. And I thought, well, that's disgusting. I would never, ever want to touch someone's surgical incision. I'm very squeamish. So I thought, no, I definitely don't want to do that. But then the physical therapist told my mom that she had to enroll me at a gym, get me strength training, or I would re-injure my knee and I wouldn't be able to play soccer anymore. So I joined a gym called Spa Lady. My mom had to lie and say I was 15 or 16 so I could get a membership. And so when I got there, I started exercising, and I was using the machines. I started taking classes. I thought the instructors were really cool. And eventually I had a job making cinnamon buns at the mall, which was the complete opposite of health. And that manager got mean. So I quit and I applied at the gym, and they hired me. And a few days after my interview, they had me teach a class. I had no training. I had no certification. I just said, okay, I'll teach a class. And it went well. And I fell in love. I fell in love with not only exercise and fitness, but I loved connecting with people. I loved helping people. And then as I continued to do it, I loved the relationships I built. And then I loved seeing people's lives change. It was really enlightening for someone my age to say, okay, wow, not only are they maybe losing weight or getting strong, I could see their bodies changing, but I could see their attitudes changing. I could see their confidence grow. I could hear they were had new relationships blossoming and they were doing better professionally because they were committing to fitness. And I was in love, and I continued on. In my teens, I taught fitness around the world. I taught fitness on television. I earned a master's in exercise sports sciences at University of Florida, and I've never looked back. I believe in it now more so than I ever did.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us on that, journey, because it really showcases, the very beginnings of how this all started. Now, you did say at 14, you were already, playing soccer enough to actually get a serious injury like that.
Right.
You would have had parents that were really supportive in your upbringing and things of that nature. Maybe just give us a highlight of that part of your life as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were very, very scrappy, and I was one of three. I was the youngest. My brother was an incredible football player and soccer. I know you guys probably call soccer football, but anywho, he played American football and and Australian football. He played both. He was fantastic. I mean, I was 5 years old. I played t-ball and then softball, and I was a cheerleader, and I did speed skating. And yeah, my mom always says if I kept you involved with sports, I didn't have to worry about you doing drugs or getting in trouble. And I don't think we were going to be the drug doing kids anyways, but she was right. She kept us out in the fresh air. We're out making friends, moving our bodies, and it was it was a real good thing for us. It was always a lot of fun. I don't remember a time where I wasn't involved with sports or
Was that a
watching
thing?
sports, right?
Absolutely. Was that a thing for that particular time? Because I can't even get my kids to just walk around the block now. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Because of the technology and just the way things are with kids these days.
Yeah, I mean, we were told pick a sport, and we did. And my kids, the same thing. I tell Ginger and Parker, I said, you have to pick a sport. You have to be in a club. I don't care what sport. It could be golf. It could be tennis. It could be running or anything. You just have to pick a sport. And so they always have. And I'm friendly with my kids, but I'm their parent first, and they will do what they're told, especially when it comes to something as big as getting involved with positive activities, right?
Absolutely. Now, you did mention you're one of three, and obviously some sort of a sporting family. Were the parents also
Yeah.
involved in some sport, or were they just being the parents?
Well, not they had retired from sports by the time they had us, but my dad played collegiate football in Canada, and he also was a talented violinist. And my mother, I think she did some ice skating and cheerleading. Back in the day, there wasn't as much opportunity for women in sports, but she was active. And you know what? They went to the gym. I remember as kids, my parents would leave, they'd go to work, they'd come home, we'd eat, and then they'd leave to go exercise, which probably is why we all care so much about our health. My sister's a little less good at it, but she still does exercise. So you got to lead by example. You know, you may not be out there in a uniform running around crashing into people anymore in your 40s and 50s and so forth, but you still have to walk the walk and exercise, and it will impact the your child at the moment and long term for sure.
Absolutely. That's pretty much where I wanted to get with this, because, there has to be some sort of point of reference, because kids would watch what the people around them are sort of doing. And, at such a young age, kids would be just sponges and just be grabbing as much, as possible. So did you also have any other sort of maybe external role models or people that you would say maybe aspire to become, especially at that sort of age?
I mean, gosh, I think at that age I was admiring all the athletes and the models and the singers and the movie stars, right? But you're right, it's cultural.
Mm.
So sometimes people come to me and they say, well, I'm overweight, but that's because my family's overweight. We're all overweight. And that's baloney. You're not overweight because of your genetics. You're overweight because of your habits. So perhaps your family does not participate in sports. Your family does not go out to exercise. Your family does not cook healthy. And so our family did, so it's a cultural phenomenon that you make choices for your body and for whatever the way you're gonna move it and the way you're gonna feed it. And anybody can have a fit family. In fact, in my new book, there's a whole chapter on raising a fit family and what could be more important, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, obviously, by the time we're recording this, it's almost about to be Halloween around here, and my little girl just keeps trying on her witch's outfit, and I'm hoping that's not going to be a career, outlook
Right?
or.
A witch, yeah. I don't know.
So
That could be fun.
right. Oh, yeah. And playing with potions and, making a mess in the bathroom with all the soaps and everything else. It's just a whole nother story. But as a kid, did you have any sort of job that you wanted to be? Some little girls wants to be a princess or maybe like a doctor or something like that. Did you have that growing up?
I got to tell you, it's funny. I actually wanted to be a singer.
Hmm.
So I did. I wanted to be a pop star. Now, mind you, I have a terrible singing voice. A terrible singing voice. I don't know what made me believe I could be a pop star, but I could not be a pop star. I have a terrible voice, and I did back then. Now it's interesting that I'm known for my voice now. I'm the voice of massive running events. I'm the voice of conferences and keynotes and things like that. I think my speaking voice has rounded itself out. But yeah, it's the thing that I do now. I kind of get pop star lifestyle without the gift of making beautiful melodies, right? And so there's me versus crowds of 20,000 quite often. And it's the connection. I think that's really what I wanted is I love people. I love joy. I love making people happy. And so, outside my role as a fitness expert, my role as a sports host, a race announcer, it feels very pop star. It's again me connecting slash performing in front of the masses, and we just have such a good time. I love looking out into the crowds and seeing the smiles, and it's awesome. It's awesome. But yeah, I sing terribly, and I do karaoke, and it's awful. So I apologize to anybody who ever has to hear me sing karaoke.
Or maybe you're just being too hard on yourself. I've watched a few videos of you cheering people on, 5,000 people, and I think it was a marathon there. And I think by age 20, you'd already taught fitness in about 13 countries, and you'd been on TV, and that's just extraordinary in and of itself. How did you then feel during that time, you having, gotten that level of fame, but you still having to work doing cinnamon buns in a shopping mall?
Well, the cinnamon buns came way before that. So
Oh,
the
okay,
cinnamon
sure.
buns, I was 13, 14 making those cinnamon buns. But you know what? When I think I was 20 when I started hosting Cardio Jam. That was the fitness TV show that I hosted. And that's really where I fell in love with the type of work I do now. And so strangers started approaching me and saying, "Are you Fitz?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And they'd say, "Well, I love you. I work out with you all the time, and I've lost 17 pounds, or my back no longer hurts." And it was really impactful to me, the opportunity to help strangers. The fact that I did this little thing in a studio, and now all of these other people were benefiting, people I didn't even know were exercising with me. And I just love to help. And so, when I used to teach exercise in a gym scenario, maybe I'd be able to have 50 people in a classroom, which was great fun. But when I'm on television, I can reach or connect with thousands or millions, depending on what level of television I'm on. And I grew addicted to that impact. I was 20 in it, and I not only decided that my career would be fitness, but it would be mass media. That's really the goal. Is every single thing I do, I would like to hit an enormous amount of people in one effort. So personal training is not an option for me. I used to do it back in the day, but it would be completely unsatisfying to me now. I need a massive amount of people when I work, or I just makes me sad. So
Mm.
yeah, it was great. I had a great start. You know, everything it somewhat fell in line, but I also forced the issue, right? I reached out and applied to be able to work overseas, and I reached out to earn my spot on that TV show. So part part good fortune, part effort, and audacity.
Oh, absolutely. I like that audacity because even at age 21, you'd already incorporated fitness. You already knew that was the trajectory of what you were going to be doing. And,
That's
some
right.
people were still trying to decide what to do with their lives. Some people take a sabbatical or a gap year or things of that nature, but you already sort of knew what you were going to
Yeah.
do. But if you would have to look back, what do you think was giving you the courage to go all in so early in something with, you know,
I wanted this career more than I wanted to yield to my fears. You know, I wanted it so badly. I don't even know if I had any fears. So it's funny. I was thinking about earlier. At 20, I was roaming around the streets of Russia alone, just roaming around the streets of Russia alone. I had took a taxi. I didn't know how to speak Russian, but I got out into the middle of town. I got the Russian subway system. I did shopping. I negotiated at these Russian black markets, and for shopping, I had a lot of chutzpah, and I just wanted to do the things I wanted to do, and I was unwilling to let fear or anybody or anything stand in my way. I don't know. It's nice. It's so fortunate to be so passionate about something. I also, besides talking about fitness, I speak at universities regularly, and I'm
mm,
constantly trying to convince these students to pursue their passion. That's the priority, is you do what you love. Think about the things you're most passionate about, and then create a career around that. Maybe there's a job waiting for you if you love sports and music. Maybe there's some sort of sports and music event space for you. And if you love cats and you love surfing, there's probably not already a cat surf camp, but maybe you could create one, right? But I think if you are passionate about something and then you have worked hard to gather the skills and the knowledge involved in that particular subject, you can get people to give you money for your talent or your service or your product, right? So I just fell in love quickly. And I hope everybody has something they love so much the way I love fitness.
oh, absolutely. Don't sleep on cat videos, eh? Because they're the
Mhm.
backbone of the internet, And
That's right.
there's, there's the there's the meme of the grumpy cat who just sits there, but it's actually one of the most famous photos in
That's
internet
right.
history, right? But Fitz, I mean, you did mention being in Russia, and obviously from what we know and hear about Russia is the mafia and just everything
Right.
else that the world doesn't quite want to hear about Russia. And people actually describe you as noisy and
Oh, yeah.
bossy. But I've got to
Yep.
ask, did you keep those traits in Russia, or have those traits actually gotten you in trouble? Or maybe they're just your secret power and you got the mafia to do and band at your will?
Yeah, so I do think when I was in Russia, I was minding my P's and Q's pretty carefully, right? I was just a tourist. It's just, well, I worked, but yeah, when I was roaming the streets, I mean, gosh, they were friendly. It's been a long time, right? So I don't actually, tragically, I don't think I'd go to Russia today, which makes me sad because it's such a beautiful country and the people were very nice. But yeah, I mean, I am noisy. I'm always on a microphone. I'm always loudly cheering for people or instructing people. And then, yeah, I'm bossy. It's interesting with fitness, people will come to me for advice and I give it. And then as soon as they get advice, and mind you, I'm not making things up. Most of the advice I give is based purely on science. And then I throw a little bit of know how and fun and savvy to get you to want to do it, right? But I'll give out the advice, and then people say, well, I can't be fit because I have a job, or I can't be fit because I have kids. And that's when the bossiness comes out. I say, listen, you've got a job. Good for you. Everybody's got a job. We all have jobs and we still find a way to be fit. So you're not special with your job. I mean, you're special and I'm glad you have a job. But if fitness is a priority for you, you will make plans and you will show up and make it happen. The same thing, you can't blame lack of fitness on your children. Your children should not be using it as an excuse for your early demise. Your children should be your incentive, right? You should be motivated. Holy cow, I made these little humans, or I adopted these little humans. They're the best. I need to do whatever it takes to stick around as long as I can so I can see them grow up, so I can encourage them and support them and love them for as long as this life will give me, right? And so quite often it's that those excuses start, and I don't mind poking people in the chest. I bring up my big finger and I give them, boom, big thump in the chest. And I don't mind bossing people around. I won't go up to strangers and say, hey, look, hey, you look out overweight or out of shape. Let me tell you what to do. But if somebody makes the mistake of asking me for guidance, they're going to get it. And I'm not going to hold back. And I get away with bossiness and I get away with brutal honesty because people know I love them.
Oh, absolutely. And from what I know, excuses only sound best to the man or woman that's saying them, because to them, it sounds like it's a fully complete sentence. You know,
Oh
the
my
dog ate
gosh.
my homework. But guess what?
Right.
We all know, you know, you don't have a dog at home. And, you know, and I feel kind of bad for these people, because you could just turn around and tell them, you know what, I've actually had one of the worst things happen to anyone, but yet here we are. I mean, let's talk about the moment everything changed for you, 2029 to 2020, you know, while everything was also happening in the world, you also had stuff you were going through, 15
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So in the February of 2019, 6 weeks after a crystal clear mammogram, I found a lump in my breast. And pretty quickly I went in for the mammogram and the ultrasound. And the doctor said, yep, and then the biopsy. And he said, you have breast cancer and it's already spread. It's already spread throughout the lymph nodes. It's moving at warp speed. So we need to treat you urgently and aggressively. And I thought for sure I was definitely dying. I mean, for something to go from nothing to lots of things. It wasn't just something, it was there and it was wild. And yeah, it was terrifying. It was terrifying. I was so scared. And treatment was tough. I had 15 months of chemotherapy, which is a really long time to do chemo, and 33 rounds of radiation. I had surgeries, and it was brutal. It was brutal. I was incredibly sick. I was the sickest I've ever been, and so I always was encouraged, think about having a stomach bug every day for almost a year and a half, or food poisoning, or a tequila hangover, whatever you identify with. But I had to live with that, and it was hard. But I made some great choices. You know, I didn't want cancer to steal my life before it stole my life, right? So it stole my hair, and I thought about folks like you, Prosper, and I was like, you know what? Men don't hide their bald heads. I'm not going to hide my bald head. And so when my long, fabulous hair fell out, we shaved the rest of it, and I just decided to go wigless. I was just going to wear my bald head. I wasn't going to hide. I just decided this is me. If you don't like it, too bad, so sad. But the wig made me sad, and I thought it looked weird for me, so I didn't wear them. And I continued on working. I boarded over 30 planes out of my hometown to go announce races or to do keynotes. And I was sick the whole time. But, the beauty of getting out and going is twofold. No matter how sick I was, when the alarm would go off in the morning to go announce a race, I would drag myself off that hotel bathroom floor and I'd go to my stages. And then the second I stepped on the stage and connected with those thousands of people, every single thing that was wrong with me disappeared. I wasn't sick. I wasn't suffering. I wasn't tired. I was juiced up on human adrenaline, and I got to be myself. I got to be full-blown Fitz Koehler as long as I was on those stages with those people. And if I would have stayed home, and so many cancer patients do, they go, I'm sick, I'm going to stay home, and I'm going to wear a mask, I'm going to hide. This is before people were wearing masks, and I called BS on the mask. I thought, this is stupid. I need smiles. I need contact. I mean, no thank you on a mask ever, ever, ever in my life, period, end of story. But I decided if I had stayed home and hid out, all I would have been was sick. And so I want people to know, whether you have Parkinson's or MS or cancer or whatever it is, life still matters. Your health matters more than ever. When when someone looks you in the eye and says, "Hey, I'm so sorry you have cancer or whatever," nothing in the world really matters other than your health. You forget about the boats and the cars and the clothes and all these things. You just think, "Oh my gosh, I wish I didn't have cancer. I wish I were healthy." And right. So I hope people don't wait for that difficult message to start prioritizing their health. You don't have to have cancer to prioritize your health. Start prioritizing it today. And then know that, every day is special. So for me, I was facing death by disease. Someone may get hit by a bus next week, right? So make today the best you can make it. Focus on your health, yes. And then focus on fun, focus on family and friends and passions in your career. I mean, if I wasn't doing if I didn't have a career that I was so desperately in love with, do you think there's any chance I would have shown up to work every day for a year and a half? So
Mm.
sick? No. If I were on an assembly line, you know, uh, packaging widgets, which is noble work, I'm not picking on it. I probably would have called in sick a lot. I probably would have said, "I'll just stay home," and then I would have been sad because I was home and alone. Instead, I had purpose. I had a reason to get out and go. And so, if you work, hopefully it's in a career that you care about, doing something that you're passionate about. And when something hits the fan, whether it's disease or death in the family or divorce or your house burns down, your career and your healthy habits will serve as a refuge for you. They will serve as this solution, a mental and physical health that lift you up and out of the doldrums. So, it's just choices. I made great choices and it really helped me through a very difficult time.
Oh, absolutely. And congratulations. I mean, yeah, somebody would have just maybe curled up in fetal position and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
woe is me," and,
Yeah.
not having done anything. But from what you're saying, if you really are doing stuff for not necessarily just for your own satisfaction, but for the other people, because we're societal beings ourselves. So if you're knowing that, you showing up is going to give strength to another person, I think that will actually get you through a lot of the stuff that people might be facing. But pretty much, I think when all was said and done, the world got shut down. Didn't that completely take you out because people were no longer anywhere to be seen? And how did you get past that now?
Oh, I was angry. I was very angry. It's funny. I was getting towards the end of my chemotherapy. I think I had
Yeah.
about 5 months left, but I had already gone through 10 months of nightmare and I had still traveled and done all, I had hugged thousands of germy, sweaty strangers every weekend with cancer. And I really was so disappointed. I was disgusted that they were shutting the world down for a virus, for a respiratory bug. It just made no sense to me. And coming from the land of the free and the home of the brave, and to see, Americans act very cowardly and very scared was very disappointing to me. It was infuriating because really what I wanted to do is I wanted to full throttle, get back to living life as vibrantly and large as possible. I wanted to go do things and be places. And right as the world shut down, as March 8th or something like that, I
Yeah.
lost 45 races. So my career went kaboom. My career exploded for the next year and a half. I had no work ahead. And the other reason I was traveling and doing the work, it was not only because I love the work I do, but I, like everybody else, have bills to pay, right? And so to me, I'm sure some of your listeners are thinking, "She's a monster. I can't believe she didn't want the world to shut down. Who does she think she is?" I still look back, I think it was appalling. I think it was a terrible decision. And as free people, we should have the freedom to choose whether we do or don't. And the people that were scared could have stayed home and let the rest of us go out and live our lives. But fortunately, I live in Florida. Florida in the United States, they call it the free state of Florida. So our governor was great. He shut the state down for about 2 weeks and then he came back and he said, "I'm so sorry I did that to you. The science doesn't add up. The claims they made were inaccurate and we're getting back to business." And so here in Florida, I could go run a race or go to the restaurants and things like that. But yeah, gosh, isn't it interesting? I mean, it's 5 years after the COVID thing and I still it makes me irritated. How did you respond to it, Prosper? Were you okay with the shutdowns, or did they make you cranky?
Now, Fades, I've got a whole different story with that in and of itself. So, COVID for us in Melbourne, we were the most locked down state. I think we did almost
Yeah,
285 days in complete
crazy.
shutdown. All right, so you can imagine if you guys experienced 2 weeks, we only had 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then the rest was yeah. So business is completely shut down. And Fitz, during that time, I actually had something happen to my Facebook, which completely shut me out of the world. So no world,
Wow.
no world. Okay. So
Were
yeah,
you furious? How did you feel?
oh, you can only imagine. I went on a mission, and that's the reason why we've created this podcast. And it gave me something. So maybe
Oh,
you
yeah.
you, you never know what these things bring along. But at the end of the day, and I really appreciate you checking in because yeah, a lot of people had it different. We literally had the kitchen table became a classroom, it became a boardroom, it became the laundry, it became a restaurant, everything else all
Yeah,
piled
wow.
up in the one space. So yeah, you can only imagine everything had to happen from the household. And from what you have said, you are obviously energized by being around so many people. So that would have really but you say in your state things were sort of
Yeah.
open. But what was the
It,
scenario, the mindset, even though things were open, but what was the scenario with the people? Because things could be open, but what they're hearing is completely different, and how they would probably react is also completely different.
right, right. And so it's interesting. So Florida was mostly open for business, but the other states, most of the work, I travel all around America, so most of
Ah,
my work was gone.
yeah,
Um, there's and my just to let you know, I remember watching how severe things were in Australia, feeling so sad for you all. I mean, it was shocking to see. In my mind, Australia and America are very similar, and then all of a
yes,
sudden it was like, whoa, you guys are more like China. I mean, that was crazy to see what they were doing to you, and we felt sad for you. So
yeah,
then the other thing you're dealing with here is there's the Republicans who are more about freedom
right,
and limited government and fresh air and sunshine. And then there's the Democrats who, I mean, just these are the realities. I'm not picking on either side, but they were wear your mask and wear gloves and hide. And how dare you if you don't do things? It was really psychotic. So if you were in a city
yeah.
that was Democrat run, you might find some restaurants shut down or these stupid arrows in the grocery store telling you which direction to walk, the condescending arrows. So it was wacky. It was wacky. It's the type of stuff, and I know you'll tell your kids and grandkids one day that they won't even believe people like us were forced to do such insanity. But that was really the differentiator in America is if you're in a Republican area, you could go do what you wanted and live responsibly. And if you were a Democrat area, you were more restricted. And if you were a Democrat or liberal leaning person, you would wear a mask even if you were in your car alone. And so it was different.
Mm.
It
Oh,
was interesting.
absolutely. But obviously, these things, like I showed you, from whatever happened to us, my book sort of came out of that. Some of
Yes.
these things
Yeah.
you can't connect the dots looking forwards. You can only connect the dots sort of
Right
looking
side. Yep.
backwards. But you've had the big C and the other big C, all right? So both C's
Oh,
completely
yeah.
taking away what could have been your
Right.
your livelihood. And obviously during that time you would have realized and known that this is definitely going to change the way you help people forever. Are there sort of any lessons or any things that you picked up from that you now sort of use in helping people deal with whatever comes their way? Because half of the things are usually obstacles, which in hindsight would actually turn out to be stepping stones that a lot of people never look at in life when it comes to fitness.
Yeah, of course. So like many of us, I remained flexible and I pivoted. I thought, okay, I can't go do these things far away. So I did a lot of my keynotes instead of being in front of 400 people live, they turned into online keynotes. Companies were still paying me the same. I just had to make sure they knew I was available. So I pivoted in that regard. I was already halfway through my second book, my noisy cancer comeback, when everything shut down. So I finished up writing that book. That was a really nice purpose I had, something to keep me going while we were all kind of bored. I'd sit on my back porch and finish, write chapters of the book until my treatment was over. And then two more books came out of that. Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, which is a guidebook for cancer patients and survivors to go from sick to strong. And then there was the Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal, which, is a comeback journal. And then, book number 5 just came out, Supercharged, the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. And so I certainly am not blaming my books on COVID, but just generically, we have to be ready for life to change directions. And, either we could sit down and cry and pitch a fit, or we can say, okay, what can I do in this other direction? And so it sounds like you and I had the same luck figuring it out, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned your book, I think that's the latest one, you Supercharged. And like you
Yes.
say, it does promise the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity without any of the gimmicks. Now, obviously, this area is mad with so many trial and error, 6-minute abs, and any other
Right.
thing that you could think of. And I think there's a whole new trend of, injecting yourself with certain things. And tomorrow you just come up, I don't know, feeling healthy or whatever it is. What's the exact formula for fitness?
Yeah, so it's a combination of watching what you put in your mouth, moving your body in particular ways, getting quality sleep, pursuing mental health measures, becoming a bright sider, choosing that, raising fit families, aging like a badass. So there's 34 chapters. There's over 400 pages, over 300 photos. And so I teach the 4 pillars of fitness, which most people are unfamiliar with. The 4 pillars of fitness are the requirements for a fit body. And so if you're a marathon runner, but you can't do 5 push-ups, are you really fit? No. If you're a bodybuilder who can't touch their toes, are you really fit? If you can swim a bunch of laps, but you can't stand on one foot, are you fit? So fitness requires strength, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, and balance. So those are the 4 pillars of fitness, which most people don't understand. And so many people say, well, I want to get fit. I'm going to start walking. And they walk and walk and walk, which is great. Walking is wonderful. But walking does not enhance your strength. You should also be working on your ability to lift, push, pull, and press against resistance, your ability to generate force when necessary to pick up and carry the groceries, to lift your grandchildren, to open a heavy door, to stand up off the ground because your own body is pretty heavy. So strength is necessary. If you strength train, not only do you become more powerful, but your bones become stronger. Your metabolism increases. Flexibility matters. It's the secret to preventing sprains, strains, and tears. Nobody wants to be injured. If you are flexible, if you are mobile, if you are accustomed to moving your joints and your limbs in a variety of different directions and your spine, you are less likely to be injured and suffer pain. If you do balance training, you are so much less likely to fall down. And so the book covers that stuff, and it break it down in a really simple, understandable way that anybody can absorb and anybody can repeat. Again, that's where there's hundreds of photos teaching people how to do balance training, how to do strength training, how to do the stretches to work each body part. The exact formula for weight loss is very simple. I teach people how to eat the right amount of the right foods for the size they want to be. So instead of coming up with some short-term gimmick, diets are just that. They are short-term efforts that lead to short-term results. Now, let me say that again to all your listeners who are considering keto or intermittent fasting or any of that other nonsense. Short-term measures that lead to short-term results. There is no way you're going to jump on intermittent fasting or keto and do it for life, right? You're going to do it, and you might have some success the first couple weeks, but then the infinite suffering is going to kick in. The rejection of foods you really like, taste, textures, entire food groups removed, or your ability to eat at 10 a.m. or at 6 p.m. or whatever time frame you've set for intermittent fasting. And so you might have a couple of pounds worth of weight loss, but then you go, forget it, I can't do this. And then you go back to your old habits, and then you gain the weight back plus. So I teach people how to eat the right amount of the right foods for the size they want to be. I have people who've lost hundreds of pounds and they just keep it off. And they say it's easy and it's mindless and it costs nothing. You don't have to buy any weird products. You eat regular food in moderation specific to your specific weight goals. So that's in the book. And then, yeah, I mean, there's a whole chapter for women, talk about menopause and menstruation and pregnancy and what's all of, it's called full throttle femininity. So how do we address fitness as a woman? And then there's man mode. And man mode is great because men, I mean, gosh, men are such wonderful physical creatures, but you also have menopause is what I call it because your hormones change at some point too, and your body starts changing. And I don't know if this is tacky for the Prosper podcast, but one of the catchphrases in there is how to have the most powerful pecker on the planet, and that's Kegels. Women know about Kegels, but most men don't know about Kegels, or they're not doing them. And so we can enhance our bodies from the inside out with exercise, with nutrition, which with sleep. And again, none of it is quick fix nonsense. It's just making choices and striving to be 1% better daily. There are no extraordinary expectations. I mean, there are extraordinary expectations. There are no outlandish suggestions in there. It's all about you adopting better habits. And I throw in the tricks of the trade to make it easier for my readers. So I'm really excited about it. This is my masterpiece.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you do raise a lot of points there. You know, if you're just good at lifting heavy things, but you can't even walk your kids, to trick or treating, then what good is
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're doing? You know what I mean? And I think people just have to come whole, and there's a comprehensive sort of fitness to just about everything else, not pieces of it and things of that sort of nature. But is there any sort of myth that you're tired of debunking when it comes to getting fit? Because there are some people that are really bullish and strong on certain things, or maybe you do these certain types of exercises, you do this certain type of eating, or you do this certain type of strategies and things of that nature that, because people are already living their lives thinking what they're doing is the right
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, so the diets just kill me. They're stupid, all of them. Please don't do any of them. Listeners, all of them. I mean, don't come at me and say, oh, well, what about this diet? No, it's dumb. It's bad. It's stupid. Don't do it. If it has the word diet attached, it's bad. If there's a product that's called a diet product, know that that product was manufactured by vultures, by thieves that are just trying to take your money. Because if I took a apple, we know, okay, apples are healthy. And if you eat apples instead of chips, for sure you might lose weight. But if someone puts a sticker on on an apple and says, this is a weight loss apple, all of a sudden you'd say, you know what, you're pulling one over on me, right? Same thing goes for these bars, for these shake. There is no such thing as a weight loss product. It's just calories in. And if you burn more than you consume, then you'll lose weight. If you consume more than you burn, you'll gain weight. It's really not complicated. And then the other thing that ticks me off is the snake oil salesman. So don't go to the quote unquote nutrition store and expect their minimum wage, non expert person in there to sell you a product that's going to change your life for good. You should not be buying supplements unless you've been to your doctor and they've drawn blood and they say, you know what, you are deficient in iron. You need to get an iron supplement because you're lacking, or you're deficient in B12 or whatever it could be. You don't just go to a random store and start, yeah, give me a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That could waste a lot of your money. First of all, the supplement industry is completely unregulated. So even if they're telling you there's creatine in the jar, there may be zero creatine in the jar. And you don't know how any of these products are going to interact with any of the medicines you might be taking for other legitimate issues. And so, fitness isn't complicated. Real food, right? If you take 80 to 90% of your caloric budget each day and choose produce and lean proteins and whole grains and water and less sugary sodas and less alcohol, you're going to do pretty well. There's when you read the book, you learn the exact formula, which teaches you exactly what your caloric budget is specifically. But within that, your body will do what you tell it to do. And that's the thing most people don't know. They think, well, I can't change my body. That's crazy. You can't change your height. But if you want to be leaner, you can be leaner. If you want to be bigger, you can be bigger. Your body will respond to the instructions you give it. And those instructions are wrapped in exercise and nutrition.
And I like that because so many people feel like whatever they are, that's who they are going to be the rest of their lives. And, and I think there's people, like you said, the predators that prey on that because they are always coming up with something that will just be the one thing that will take the edge off or whatever it is. Now, these people are not taking a day off. And I don't think neither are you to obviously bring this word out there. And you're always, from what you're saying, you're blending science with sass, but
yeah.
What's the sort of balance between evidence-based fitness and just really motivating people to want more, be more, and have more, and just making them sort of want to follow through? What's the yeah.
Yeah. So the sciences is, I don't think most people would want to go through those journals and learn, right? So I did. I was fascinated learning about the human body and how it works and how our bodies respond to exercise and nutrition. So I went and did the hard work. And so my job is to bottle it in a really easily absorbable way, right? And so the science is what it is. I don't venture far off from real science. I throw in some tricks and so forth, but what I'm delivering is my message in the way that I like to deliver the message, in a simple, understandable, fun way, sarcastic. I will poke you and pester you, and I will tell you when you're wrong. I have a chapter called "Why Your Excuses Are Lame." And that's just the reality. Your excuses are lame, and I don't know. I want people to have fun with fitness. I want them to laugh while reading the book. I have some of my editors. So before I send my book to the real editors, I have collegiate interns that work with me. And so over the past few semesters, once I finished the book, I started saying, okay, read the book. Tell me why you hate it. Tell me where I have a grammatical issue or a spelling. I just write, and then I clean it up after the fact. But quite a few of them came back and they said, maybe you could be a little nicer here. Maybe you could be a little more gentle. In a few places, I did soften my tone, but then in plenty of places, I decided no. Maybe people want vanilla information. You're not going to find it. You're not going to get it. I'm going to love you hard. I'm going to cheer for you as aggressively as humanly possible. And then I'm going to tell you when you're being a royal idiot and you're screwing yourself out of an incredible life worth living, right? So the book is just a big mixture of fun and stern and pokes and science and stories. I've got stories. I am so proud of my body now. I feel so good. And when I was sick, I was underweight. A lot of cancer patients gain weight. Usually we see cancer patients lose weight when they're going to die, right? Before death, a cancer patient wastes away. I wasted away while alive. And I was just so frail. And I remember looking in the mirror at my rear end, and I called it chemo butt, but one would think I was a 90-year-old from the backside, just a flabby, flat pancake booty. And I thought, gosh, I just need to rebuild this, right? And so I've spent the past 4-5 years just lifting weights every other day aggressively. And now I finally feel really fit and really strong. And, I'm healthy because I love being healthy. There's a side effect where I'm also proud of my appearance, but who would have thought I'd put myself on the cover of a book in biker shorts and a sports bra? That's really not my vibe. I'm a little more modest than that, but I want everybody to feel their best, right? None of us are getting any younger. So what if we took things up a notch? What if we what if we whittled our middle a little bit? What if we had a defined waist? What if we had curvy shoulders? You're standing up straighter. You ooze more confidence. You exude more energy. People want to work with you because you're fit. If I think real estate agents, right? So I'm sure you're familiar. You probably got some realtor friends. They work hard. They're hustling. They're carting people around to look at this house, that house. It's a very demanding job. Here in the States, they are the most vain professionals ever because, and I say this lovingly, but they put their faces on billboards. They put their faces on benches and business cards. It's a very look at me profession. Okay, well, know this. We are looking at you. When we look at you, professional realtor, do we see a person we think has the energy to take us from house to house to house? Do we feel like you have the confidence to negotiate an incredible deal for this most expensive purchase I'm going to make? Or do we look at you and think, that guy looks kind of tired? I don't know if he's got the energy to do all the things a realtor needs to do. So your level of fitness and the energy it provides, the confidence it provides, the strength you show with your physicality, that will boost your career. That will get you more jobs. It will get you more customers. It will make you more sales. And I'm not picking on someone who's overweight and out of shape, and maybe hopefully they're making a great living too. But know that if that person took their health seriously, they could make even more money. They could get an even better job. They could have an easier time meeting the love of their life. Not only the way they look, but the way they feel and the confidence and their energy. All of it is going to be better when people are taking care of themselves. So, I want you to look, feel, perform great. I also want these other aspects of your entire world to get better and better and better because you've taken the supercharged philosophy and you've gotten yourself 1% better every day.
Oh, absolutely. Because the packaging matters. And you're right. Let's say you're showing a house that's got stairs and, you're at the bottom of the stairs and you start setting up camp and you're like, oh, you guys just go ahead. I'll shout from the bottom here because you can't just go up a flight of stairs. But you've gone on and inspired millions. I'm curious. You see, I'm a marketer, right? Whenever I see people doing random acts of marketing, I'm just like, am I not audible enough for people to know what's actually happening there? And I suppose when you go to your grocery store or just outside your household, you're going to be looking at, because the world sees America as the most obese nation, right? So I can imagine one in every 2 or 3 people that you walk past is just like a very good candidate of your book or your work and things like that. Who inspires you and maybe motivate the motivator in you needs motivation? Because maybe just seeing all of that might just be putting a downer on any well-meaning person.
No, I nobody, I'm not downed by anything. I look as opportunities, and you're right. We definitely have an issue with people that are far too many people are overweight and obese. Obesity is terrifying. But the people that I'm most inspired by, it's funny as a race announcer, sometimes I'll have, let's say, 10,000 athletes on a course. So I'm at the start line. I get them engaged, informed, entertained. I whip them into a frenzy. I yell, go. So these people take off. And we were having so much fun at the start line, right? But as they come through, I will give the champion a champion's welcome. So I'm on the microphone, and when the winner comes in, everybody knows it's a winner, and we give the big celebration. But really, the people I'm looking forward to the most are the back of the pack. I love these people that if you look at them, you would think, oh, well, they probably don't do races of any distance from 5K to full marathon. And, it is that obese person with one leg coming through, finishing a marathon where I think, oh my God, I love that person. That's the best person because those are the gritty people. When I'm just driving down the road in town and I see an older person with 2 knee braces, limping along to get some exercise, my heart just bursts into a million pieces because golly, that person could be sitting at home making excuses. Instead, they've gotten themselves out in the hot Florida sun to go exercise. And so those are my role models. Those are the complete inspirations to me. And so if you're one of those people, if you're not in whatever, Kim Kardashian or messy shape, you're not the hottest person physically, fine. But if you get up and you do the thing you need to do to make yourself 1% better, I'm in love with you. Like, you're the one I want to run over and hug and high five and cheer for you. That's inspiring to me. And good for the athletes, good for the superstars. But it's the average Joes and Janes that are, they're working hard, they're raising their kids, or they're alone, whatever they're doing, but they're doing their best. That's nothing means more to me, because that's what we need. We need not only each country, but I think the whole world would do better if people were exercising. I mean, think about the folks in the Middle East who have lost their minds in certain directions. If they exercise, maybe they would be less hostile. Maybe they would hate each other less if they just went out and did a Zumba class or, I don't know, some push ups. They might be a little kinder. Would terrorism exist if people were exercising, eating right, and getting quality sleep? I'm not convinced it would. So I think it benefits all of us if we all put in our time with fitness and nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. I believe in it.
Absolutely. Now, Fitz, somebody might be saying, "Oh, I didn't start off at 14. I didn't play football. I didn't
Right.
incorporate my company at 21. I'm just little old me, and life has happened, and people already feel stuck, and they have maybe given up and things like that." What will be the one thing that you can maybe just encourage them to start with? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot, like you say, there's the strength, the cardio, the flexibility, and everything
Yeah.
else. But what is there like a entry point where at least somebody would just dip their toe and then at least come up motivated to do more, moving forward?
Absolutely. And, I always like to point out, I am also just a little old me as well. There's nothing superhero about Fitz Koehler, but in my everything exercise chapter in the book, there's a few sections I'm really proud of. One is filled with exercises you can do in bed. So if you really
Mm.
are in that dire situation where just standing doesn't feel good, fine. Stay in bed, watch your favorite show, and do leg lifts, do bridges, do Supermans. There's a whole bunch of exercise photos and instructions in the book that teach you how to use your bed as a fitness center. So that's something everybody can do, right? There's a whole section on stretches you can do in the shower. So you're just there in the morning in a warm hot water, cascading over your body, and you're using the wall to stretch your calves, to stretch your back, to start your day, to invigorate yourself, or to calm down at night. And then next level is exercises you can do in a chair, from cardio to strength to flexibility to the balance. It's all there. Hundreds of photos teaching you how to exercise in a chair. So if you really feel like you are at ground zero and you don't know where to go, I've got you. I'm showing you this is ground zero. Go from the bed to the chair workouts, and then eventually you can go to the floor. You can use gravity for fitness, or you can use stretchy bands or dumbbells or kettlebells. There's so many options, and so just you focusing on making yourself 1% better. You don't have to be like anybody else. You don't have to be whoever you were in grade school or when you were 20. Just think about who you are today and what you can do to be better tomorrow. That's it. And if every tomorrow you're achieving 1% better, gosh, by the end of the year, you're going to look in the mirror and just bubble up with joy. You're going to shout from the rooftops that you are so freaking proud of yourself, and that you're supercharged, right? Because that's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. And I like how you've left no stone unturned there. You might be thinking, I'll just Netflix and chill here, but hey, you could actually do some
That's right.
something crazy. So there's no excuses right now. I've
Hmm.
automatically run out of each and every one of them because just standing
Good.
up from my chair here to the door is literally some form of movement that
That's right.
requires, yeah, cool stuff. So where can people go to maybe just to maybe have a glimpse of what it is that you're doing, how they can be a part of your world, and just maybe learn a little bit more about, maybe that exact formula for fitness?
Okay, so here's the deal is almost all of my resources are free and available to the masses anywhere and everywhere. So fitzness.com is my home base. It's FITZ as in zebra or Z Ness, if you're listening. If you're watching, you see it above my head, but fitzness.com. There's a bazillion free workout videos, recipes, articles. There's all sorts of free things at fitzness.com. I'm also heavily engaged in social media. I'm at Fitzness on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm constantly sharing reels and slideshows and all sorts of content to help encourage you and guide you towards fitness. And so, what I would hope is that if anybody's going to connect with me after listening, go to Fitzness, following's great, but I would much rather have friends than followers. So please also say, hi, I heard you on Prosper's podcast and I'd love to connect. And so the books are available at fitzness.com. If you live here in the States, that's probably the wisest way to go. If you live elsewhere, Amazon and your bookstore, you can just look up my name or Supercharged, and you'll find it there. It goes officially on sale November 19th.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for opening us to your world. And speaking of your world, I mean, we started off in your world at 14, and then there was a pivotal stop at 21 when you incorporated Fitzness and, all the things and happenings that have happened in between. We've been introduced to Ginger and Parker, and now you've written all the 5 books, and you're still on your mission to inspire others to be more, have more, and do more. But now that we're in your world, what's next? What can we be looking out for that you're working on, or that we can be inspired and cheer you on and also want to be a part of as we go along? I mean, you've been cheering others while they're doing their marathons, but we want to back you up. What are you working on?
Well, thank you very much. You know what? Just finally hit publish on this book. So deep breath, because as you know, writing your 5th book is a colossal effort. So it's like the deep breath that it's done, and then a big inhale, because now comes the book tours and the marketing and things. So I just want to keep going until I connect with every human on earth, and then connect again. So more keynotes, more race announcing, more live streams, more everything, more TV, more radio, just to keep connecting and trying to find, that hot button to press on a person to get them to take action for their own health. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be satisfied, Prosper. I'm driven, and I don't think there is a finish line for this career. So, yeah, just keep making noise and bossing people around. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Now, Fitz, I can't thank you enough for the time that we've spent on the call today. I mean, your life story and your experience have so much value for those that are really keen on doing something with their lives. I mean, those that have ears would have heard, like, not only did you go through what you went through, but you didn't let that stop you. And it's just proof that strength isn't built in the gym. It's actually built in the moments that we actually refuse to quit. So, first of all, thank you so much for having gone through that journey. And second of all, thank you so much for sharing that journey with us on the Online Prosperity Show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And for everybody out there, know that you can do better. You can be better. I hope you take actions to do so. I love you all.
Fantastic. And for those that are watching, thank you so much. If you've been watching up until this far, I mean, the energy that Fitz was just delivering here is out of this world. And if this episode just reminded you to maybe fight for your own health, your own happiness, or your own hope, I encourage you to maybe share this with somebody who needed the same spark today. All right. Because it's times like this where you might just think, oh, woe is me. But if you just hear that little Fitz spark, you might actually turn your life around. And make sure you subscribe, because the next time on the Online Prosperity Show, we're going to be diving into fresh ideas that will actually help you create not only a successful business, but also a happier existence. And I'll put all the links that Fitz Koehler has given us today, especially the ones for her book, and also the links to some of her social media pages. Until next time, get out there, get supercharged, and remember, prosperity actually starts with owning your own story. I can't wait to see what you do with this information today. Bye for now.